Okay everyone, welcome back to another video. It's Electrified 90s. What I'm going to talk to you about today is the best way to level up to beat the hellhound. Now in my previous video I talked about the best way to grind in order to make sure that you are ready to fight the hellhound, who is the final boss in chapter 1 of The Witcher. Now I'm going to talk about what abilities you need to make sure you have leveled up and where you go to fight the hellhound. So I'm going to open up my inventory, and what I will say is you want to make sure that you do have enough swallow potion, you've got some tawny owl, and you've got some blizzard, and you've made sure that your weapon has a grindstone on it. You also want to make sure that you have actually drunk some of these potions before you start that fight. And you also want to make sure, I'm just going to go to a campfire to show you, you also want to make sure that Okay, welcome back everyone. It's Electrified 90s here again to talk to you about the best way to fight the hellhound, who is the final boss in chapter 1 of The Witcher. Now what I want to do is talk about the best way to prepare for this fight and make sure you are upskilled enough. If you do need to grind, check out my video on grinding, the best way to grind in chapter 1 in order to be ready to fight the hellhound. Especially if you, like me, have chosen to complete The Witcher on the hardest difficulty. It is extremely important that you make sure that you do level up enough in order to fight the hellhound, and you do have a few things activated. So the first thing I want to talk about is potions. So make sure you do have enough swallow potions. You've also got ignore the thunderbolt, because that just makes you more susceptible. You're not allowed to parry and you're not allowed to dodge, and when fighting the hellhounds that's really important, because your life just goes down so quickly with the amount of attacks that they inflict on you. So make sure you've got the tawny owl and blizzard, and make sure you have applied a grindstone to your weapon. In fact, what I did was I applied the spectre oil to my weapon. We'll go to the journal and we'll go to monsters, and what you will be able to see is hellhound. You'll see that they are a spectre. So having that spectre oil applied increases damage. It doesn't state it here, but once you've applied it, it will tell you that it increases damage by 100%, which is really important and more than what the grindstone would do. So what you want to do is make sure that you've got enough of these potions, and then what you also want to do is make sure your abilities are upgraded enough. So I'm going to go through the abilities that you want to make sure that you've got. You've only got the steel sword, so there is no point in you upgrading any of the silver sword in chapter 1, so make sure you've done as much as you can on the steel sword. So when you're fighting the hellhound in the final boss, you want to make sure that you've upgraded all of your group style. So you want to make sure you've got 1, 2. You won't have any silver talents to be able to spend in chapter 1, so don't even look at this section. So you want to make sure all of these skills have been bought in order to maximize your damage, because the group style is what you're going to be using with the amount of hellhounds that are going to be attacking you, the amount of barghest that are going to be attacking you, as well as the hellhound once you go to fight the boss at the end. And there's no point trying to use fast steel, because you'll be attacked by multiple enemies, and strong steel you cannot attack the hellhound or the barghest with strong steel. It just won't attack. And the sign that you want to make sure that you do upgrade is Ard, and you want to make sure that you've upgraded where it says here to stun. So you want to make sure that is there, because what that does is as soon as you fire off that ard, it knocks the hounds to the floor, and then you're able to have a one-hit kill with them, which is really effective. You want to make sure the level 2 is done as well. Don't worry about disarming, but what you want to do is make sure knockdown is activated as well. Again, what you want to do is give yourself the best chance of every time you do that ard sign, it knocks them over, so you can have one-hit kills with those bar guests, and then you can concentrate on fighting that hellhound. So those are the main two things that you want to make sure you've upgraded: the group steel and the ard sign. Ignore the igni sign. Do not even attempt to upgrade the igni sign in chapter 1, because when you go to fight the hellhound, the igni sign is completely useless because he is immune to fire, and that goes with the Barghest as well. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that the areas that you're going to fight them, is, even though you don't go to this cave now, but that is the cave that you will find Abigail in. But what you're going to do is you're going to go to Salamandra's hideout here, you're going to fight them, you'll go underground, you'll meet Abigail underground, and then when you come outside, you'll see the mob, and then you'll immediately start fighting the hellhound. So when you go here, you'll go underground to the cave, you'll immediately come out and start fighting the hellhound. And then once you've fought the hellhound, the villagers will also start to attack you, so be prepared for the villagers to start attacking you as soon as you've had that fight with the hellhound. You have no time to rest or prepare or brew any potions or anything. As soon as you defeat the hellhound, the villagers will come to you and start attacking you straight away after as well. I wouldn't worry about trying to protect Abigail too much when fighting the hellhounds. The reason for that is she doesn't actually die, even though she falls down when you fight the hellhounds. It's when the villagers come to attack her, that's when you want to make sure that she doesn't die. If you are able to keep her alive, she does continue to top up Geralt with health, so if possible, do that. But if not, don't worry about it, because you've got enough problems to worry about with all the Barghest and the hellhound attacking you at the same time. So that is the video. Any questions, like, subscribe. Anyone has any questions that they want me to go through, I'm more than happy to create another video to talk about fighting the hellhound again. But those are the main things that you need to know. What you also want to do again is what I want to reiterate is make sure that you are drinking these potions before you go in to start the fight with that hellhound. You want to have the Tornial, you want to have Swallow, you want to have Blizzard if possible, and you want to have that Spectre oil applied before you go into that fight. And you also want to make sure that you go into the fight just before midnight, because the fight takes place at midnight, and you want to make sure that you go into the fight. When you go in to face Salamandra, you want the time to be around here, or even just directly in between, because the Swallow lasts a couple of hours and all the other potions last at least a few hours, so they won't wear off by the time you go to fight. But if you go there after midnight, or you go there just before midnight, then what's going to happen is you'll end up starting that fight, and you'll need to try and re-drink those potions, reapply that Spectre oil, and you don't have time to do that when you start that fight. So that's it, guys. See you soon.